What is up, everyone? I hope you're having a fantastic day. Now, you joined me back downstairs with my plant storage tanks. And as any fish keeper knows, a quarantine tank or an empty fish tank or a plant storage tank doesn't stay empty for long. Now, I did overorder plants and I did put them in here, and I said to Katie, it's just going to be a temporary thing. It's down on a low shelf. It'll be fine. Won't be long. But once I put the nice ONF plant light unit over the top of it, and I had these two 30cm cubes next to each other, I started to think it would make a really cool scape if I split a piece of hardscape and had it between the two tanks. Now, this is the piece of wood in question that I want to cut through. It is like super dense, so I'm a bit worried about this. I think we're going to have to chop a bit off the bottom to get it low enough to go in these tanks, but that is my idea. So we've got 4 branches, roots coming off of it, and I think if I can cut in between them, so 2 is in one tank, 2 is in the other, and then we've got a nice flat plane to sort of not glue but place against the glass, I think it's going to work, but I'm not 100% sure I can cut this. So this is going to be the moment of truth as to whether this scape is going to work. I'm either going to ruin a really good bit of hardscape, or it's going to succeed, and I'm really not sure which. Now I think we want to go somewhere about there, make a little notch, and we're going to just come straight up through the middle. We're going to try this saw first and hope that this goes through. If this doesn't go through, we'll break out the big guns, but I'm hoping I can get a bit of a workout and cut my hardscape in half. Oh my word. Yeah, that wood is as thick and tough and hard to cut as I remember it. But we have done it. Oh no, hang on, it's that way. I think a bit just fell off. We'll keep that bit. Might need that. We have done it. It is in half. And I didn't do too bad a job considering I was just using a normal saw. I might have to sand it down a little bit, but you can see how solid that, like, it's just dense. But anyway, we have done it. Now I've got to clean up the tanks, and I'm a bit tired. It is a bit hot. The sun's shining through this window and causing it to be really hot in here. But it's fine. We'll get this cleaned out, and we can have a look how these fit in. Hopefully this is going to work. One thing to remember when dealing with aquarium plants is not to throw them outside. Do not throw them into your garden or into a hedgerow, or certainly not into your local river or pond. Some of these plants could become invasive, and then it just causes problems for all of us because certain species end up getting banned because of a few people throwing them away into nature. Just be careful and make sure you compost them somewhere appropriate. Now we've got both of those cleaned, well, vaguely cleaned. They're not perfect, but they'll do absolutely fine. I want to put a little bit of polystyrene under the base of these just to protect that bottom edge. I don't want any mistakes and I don't want any problems, so let's go and find some nice black polystyrene to go underneath there. So now with the bottoms of the tanks protected with that layer of polystyrene, we can have a look at putting our hardscape in, or at least this piece of wood that I'm hoping is going to work, because it took me long enough to cut it. I've put that in the wrong way, haven't I? It used to go that way. Okay, one bit in. Oh, this bit's bigger. Oh, this bit's much bigger. Houston, we have a problem. I think I'm stuck. Okay, so this arm is too long. Yeah, it is. By the minuscule amount. Do I just chop off the end? Now, I really don't want to chop this end off in a straight line. There's already a weird cut mark in it. I'm going to take it outside and just see if I can blunt the end of it, because it only needs to come in. Oh, it is about an inch. It's quite a way. Oh no, it might not be. No, it might just be a little bit. I'm going to see if I can just blunt the end of it off instead of cutting it. Cutting it leaves a straight line and it just looks weird. So hang on, I'll be back. I think this is like third time lucky. I do also think that we're going to have to cut the bottom of this one off because it is definitely too tall. Oh, well, that fits this time. Yeah, I think it's going to be too tall. Let's get the light unit up. Get that in position. Okay, proof of concept works, but the right-hand piece does need to come down. Yeah, this bottom piece here needs to be either broken off or just be cut off. But I think broken off is the thing. It only needs to come up a couple of inches. I think we're going to revisit the patio and give it a few hits and see where that gets us. The art of aquascaping. Perfect. Sometimes you don't need to finesse things, sometimes you just need to hit them really hard, as long as it's away from the glass in your aquarium. I think we might be onto a winner. It wants to fall over. Oh yes, that is exactly what I wanted. All the tanks have come together a little bit. I really want that gap to be like present. Hang on, let me move you. See a dead centre, somewhere about there. That is looking cool. Obviously, loads of aquascapers have done this sort of thing before. I am not the first, and I certainly won't be the last, but I just like this concept. I think it's clever, I think it's cool, it's a little bit different. I think we're going to have to take a little bit of that branch off, but I think we're good. I think that is what we want. Now, I'm still not 100% sure on where... Right, are you going to... Come here. Are you going to sit there through the whole filming, are you? Right. Just because I'm sat on the floor, you're like, hello, hello. I don't want kisses. Right, so because I'm not... Ow! Because I'm not 100% sure on what plants and what sort of setup I want to do in here. You're going to make this so difficult. You are, aren't you? Right, last take. Stop trying to lick me. So, tough. Get off me. Right, okay. This is not conducive to filming. I'm going to tell you to go away. Go and sit on your bed. Or sit down there. Sit down there, works fine, you hairy animal. Right, so let's try that again. Because I'm not 100% sure on what setup we're going for, whether we're going for like loads of stems or loads of rosette plants or loads of Anubias, but I probably won't go Anubias because I've done Anubias in the last tank. And this tank's got a real high-end light unit on it, so I think we are going to go for like some really nice, colourful, or not necessarily colourful, but pretty plants. I think they're going to look good. So with that in mind, I've already got my plant food here, so I'm going to be using Plant Boost and Liquid CO2 Boost a lot on this tank. So I've got them here. I've got my high-end light unit, and I am going to use Scaper soil. So this is like a high-nutrient soil that's going to go in here as well. We're going to give the plants all the opportunities for growing really well. I might need to go get more plants because I've only got a few upstairs. But if I get that substrate layer in, I can then work out what rocks we're going to go for. Again, I'm unsure. Do I go for 2 different types of rocks? Do I go for the same rock? I think this is going to be a scape that evolves over a few weeks where it's just sat here, I look at it, I try a few different things out, but I'll be sure to film them every time I try something different. If I do try something different, the first thing might work. Anyway, let's get some substrate in there and see how that looks. I've just been using the last of this soil up because, well, to be honest, this branch here was sort of sticking up out the substrate and had a gap underneath it. This one still is, and I don't think I'm going to be able to put enough soil in there to get that one buried. But at least with the more soil, hopefully I can get a rock in there and we can almost like bank up underneath that piece of wood and then put the soil behind it, and then, I don't know, a wall of stem plants maybe, or I don't know. I don't actually know what we're going to put in here, but that's 1 bag of soil split between 2, so that's not really bad going. Yeah, cool. I'm really liking where this is going. Obviously, once the water is in there, this middle pane will be mirrored, so you won't actually see the back end of either side of the wood, so you won't see the cut really from the other tank, which is going to look good. I'm liking how this is going so far, except for the cutting, because that was hard work, to be honest with you. Yeah, so I'm going to leave this for a few days now. I'm going to go and try and find some aquascaping rocks. Roma, come here. Just because they can hear you, so they might as well see you. I'm going to go and find some aquascaping rocks and have a bit of a play. Dragonstone, maybe Seiryu, maybe just some pebbles. And then we'll have a look at some planting once I've worked out what we're doing. But I'm already enjoying where this is going. I think it's going to be cool. We are back after living with this scape for a few days now. And when I say we, me, sat on my dining room table, behind the camera, looking at it, thinking about what I'm going to do with it. But tonight it sort of gelled and it sort of came to me. I was having a chat with my friend Alex B Aquatics. He's on Instagram and YouTube. You can go and check him out. And I was having a chat with him and it sort of came together. And I think I'm going to try and make them look the same, but using different things. This one may be a little bit more like scapey and hard tech. This one a little bit more like natural nature style, botanical sort of thing. I'm thinking split colours like red, green, green, red, I don't know, something along those lines. But the rocks are the first thing we've got to do. Now for rocks, I'm thinking dragonstone in one and then Seiryu stone in another. So the dragonstone's like that scapey element. The Seiryu stone's that natural element because it's that grey, a bit slate looking. I think it's going to work really well. But tanks like this where you've got a piece of hardscape split between the 2 tanks, I think there's a lot you could do with them. You could do one like hardscape only, one really planted. You could, well, yeah, there's just so many different routes you could go down. I don't think there's a wrong answer. And I think this is a project that we're going to probably build on and revisit and maybe do like 5 of them in a row. I think that's a bit stupid. But anyway, we are going to have a look at that. First, I've got to get a background on these tanks. Then I'm going to go and see what Seiryu stone and what dragonstone I can sort of scrape up from around the house. Because I've not shopped for any of this. And I didn't know I was going to be filming this evening. So we'll see how we get on. The good news is I have got a black background for them. The bad news is that the tanks are already in position. And this is going to be a trickier game than if I'd done it before. I'm sure it'll be fine. Now that we've got the black backgrounds on there, I have been around the house and we have secured some rocks. We've got some dragonstone, some Seiryu stone and some greystone that I'm not actually sure what it is, but I think it will blend in absolutely fine. So like I say, I'm going to go 1 tank fully Seiryu stone Yeah, not too sure how much yet. And then we're going to go one tank fully in dragonstone. Yeah, again, not sure what bits, but I'm sure we can make something work. Now I'm going to go with the same composition of rocks in each one. I'm thinking like maybe 3 or 4 rocks, maybe 5 at a maximum, or at least like piles of them so they look vaguely the same in both tanks. I've just got to work out which ones to start with. Let's keep it simple for the minute and try the other tank first to see if we can get it to match up. But that's 4 stones, 1 little one here, 2 put together there, and 1 big one that props up that root. I don't need to prop up the root in this one, but I'm thinking the same large rock, 2 smaller rocks. I think this is going to look good.
Always had a way to make it work and find another route. Yeah.
That actually came about way easier than I thought it was going to. They sort of match but don't match. We've got a big stone under the root, little pile of stones, or not a pile, but a little outcrop of stone there, and then another stone by the other root. The rest of it is going to be filled up with, well, plants and a few botanicals, I think, in each one to make them, again, look different, but not different. I'm liking that. I'm away for a few days now. It is late. I don't know why I'm checking. I haven't got a watch on. It is late, but I think I can get this planted and filled tonight, and then I can leave it for a few days to settle, and then hopefully my new filters will be here to chuck on the back of here, and we can get it running properly in a couple of days. So I think we are going to go and grab the plants from upstairs. I've got a few plants, but not many. And obviously the plants that were in here as well are now in a tank that way. So let's go get the plants and see. I think green, reddy pink, dark green, reddy pink. I don't think I've got enough red to do all red, but dark green, reddy pink, green. That's what we're going with. Right, so to go through the planting, let's use this lid as a bit of a drip tray. Excuse the jellyfish, this is actually a lid of Quinn's toy box, but anyway, it will work for the minute. So we've got this really nice Rotala blood red for the back of the dragonstone tank. So these leaves, you can't really see, but will go are real dark crimsony red. So I probably won't need all 3 of those, but we have got them if we need them. Then for the back of the green aquarium, so this is the more nature style one, we've got Hygrophila polysperma. That stuff grows like a weed. It won't stop. So that might be a mistake and I might regret it. Then I'm thinking for the background of the green tank as well, we've got some Bacopa, so that will grow really well. Again, not sure I need this many stem plants in there, but we're going to go with it. It's got loads of nutrients. It's got loads of good lighting with that ONF light over the top. I think it's going to work really well. Then for the red tank, we've got Alternanthera cardinalis. This will go proper pink under that bright lighting, so I think that's going to be cool. So that's all the tall plants. Then we sort of need to come down into the middle of the aquarium. So for the green wild aquarium, we're going to go hairgrass. Then it gets a bit tricky for the red aquarium because red plants coming down into those lower reaches do get harder to come by. But this is Cryptocoryne nurii, I think it was. Now I had this in a tank upstairs. This is some of the bits. So I'm going to give it a go in here, but it gets these really cool like tiger stripes to it. So we're going to give that a go as our mid-ground plant in the red tank. And then to dot around in amongst the rockwork, I've got this nice pile of Bucephalandra, and I think it is theia red, I believe, so it's got red stems. And then for the green tank, well, we've got green velvet Bucephalandra. That is a lot of plant, but I might not need to use it all. We'll see how we get on with planting, but I've got to get these all stripped and sorted out first, which is a monumental task in itself. So for this, all we need to do is give the pot a quick squeeze, get that plastic pot off, terracotta ring, plant label out the way, and then we've just got to peel all this rock wool off. Obviously there's a full video on my channel on how to do this properly, but we are just going to try and speed through this so that I can get the planting done this evening. This is going to be a tedious job this late at night. Also, a quick tip, if you can't get all this rock wool off, a pair of tweezers are perfect for it, because you can almost use them as a comb, and you can just comb all that rock wool off of the main root. But yeah, this is going to take a little while, so cue the time lapse. So I've just cleaned up and sorted all of those plants, and luckily I looked at the tank and remembered something. And if you've watched any of my other videos, essentially the White Cloud Mountain minnow tank I done the other week, I haven't glued the wood in here yet, and that mountain minnow tank, that wood floated and destroyed the whole scape. Well, no, it didn't destroy the whole scape, that's exaggerating, but I haven't glued this yet, so I need to get in here and glue these bits of wood to the rock, because otherwise they might float. So we're going to do that, then I can get the planting done. I feel like this is going to be a long, long night. For this, we're just going to be using a bit of cyanoacrylate aquarium glue. Now this will stick anything to anything, but with the addition of a bit of tissue paper balled up and then placed in the crevices, not all the way around because otherwise it would be like a big white ring, but with some tissue paper balled up in those crevices, we can chuck the glue on it and the tissue will just act like a cement to bind the two together. Gluing that wood to those big rocks should hold it down. That's what I said last time, and that didn't go right, but I've used the proper glue this time. Now we can get on with the plants, and it's getting later and later. Anyway, I don't need to tell you this, but let's crack on. We're nearly there. Remember when you're dealing with stem plants to break them up, because there will be several stems in each pot. Like these pots have like 9 or 10 stems in, so it's well worth separating them because they will grow better. But what we're going to do is we're going to start with the red stems in this side, right at the back, the green stems in this side, and work our way slowly to the front. What we need to do now is get all of these Bucephalandras glued to pebbles and rocks, and then we can dot them in amongst this rock work, and then that's everything planted. And then all that's left is to fill it up, go to bed and let it settle. That is the majority of the plants in. Well, when I say majority, that is all of the plants that I prepped for this build. So it looks good. I love that stark difference. I don't know if you can see it on camera. Yeah, you can see the green to the red. There is a real difference in the coloration to these two tanks. Now I am going to leave the botanicals for the minute because I'm not 100% sold on that idea now. I might be wrong, but we're gonna live with these tanks for a few days, maybe a week or so, let them settle in and see what I want to do. So yeah, let's go get the hose pipe, let's get these filled up and see what they look like with water in. Oh, also just had confirmation that my filters should be here tomorrow, so maybe that will be done tomorrow. Actually, I might not leave these tanks to settle that long. I'll probably get my filters on, or at least they're running then. So that is it for this evening. I am finished. We're planted, we're filled, we are done. The last job I am going to do this evening, to be fair, is put some plant boost and some liquid CO2 boost in there, just to give those plants a bit of a head start, to be honest. It should be one pump in each tank. So one each for you, and one each for you, and we are done. Now I'll be doing that daily for the next few days, just to get those plants really going. And hopefully tomorrow I should have my filters here so we can get them installed, and then we'll put some tap water safe and some filter starter in just to get the filters going. And then we should be good. And also I've been having a chat to one of my friends and we have come up with a very good plan for the fish. So stick around in the video to see that. Well, to be fair, at this point I might have put it in the thumbnail, so who knows. But anyway, I've got a great idea and we've come up with a cool plan to get the fish in here and what fish we're going for. So yeah. I think I've said it before, but I'm going to bed. I will see you. I won't see you in the morning, but I'll see you in the next bit of the video that I record. We are back. It's the next day. I have got my filters and the plants are looking all right. They're looking okay. I do need to trim a lot of them though, because a lot of them have already reached the surface, and well, there's no point in having a stem plant reaching the surface already. What are you doing? Come here, you're never on camera. Mini dog, come in. Oh. Okay, Mini dog was coming to say hello, but now she's sulked off that way. So, anyway, I'm going to get these chopped back. I'm going to get these new filters installed. So I've gone for a couple of hang-on-the-back filters. These are the Oase Biostyle 75 litres. Never used them before, so I'm interested to see how they work, to be fair. Yeah, I'm going to hang them on the back. We're going to get the plants cut back. I'm away for a few days then. We can let this tank settle. And hopefully when I come back, it will be clear. There'll be no bubbles. Everything will look good. So, yeah, let's crack on. those filters are blasting the water around these tanks. So I might need to turn them down once the fish go in there, but for just the plants, it's going to be good to get that circulation going. Any sort of old leaves that are converting from non-aquatic growth to aquatic growth will drop off, and those filters should pick them up. So the last thing to do tonight is get these plants trimmed back, and we're going to go fairly aggressive on it, but we're going to get them trimmed back, replant all of the bits that we cut off, and then we're good to tap water safe, we're good to filter starter, and then we should be ready to leave these tanks to settle for a little bit of time before we get the fish in, and I am super looking forward to this. Now I do need to net out all these loose leaves. Well, I don't need to, but I'm going to, just to keep the tank clean at this period, because a new tank is always the most unstable tank. But we've got loads and loads of trimmings, so each one of these stems can be a new plant if it's just pushed into the substrate or sand the right way up, so with its obviously bottom facing the bottom, then it will root and it will grow. I'm not too sure how much of this I need to use because, well, I've got quite a lot of it and the tanks still look quite full, but I am going to replant some of it. Well, you know, no point in wasting it, is there? So with our first trimming done, replanting the trimmings into the tank, and also obviously getting those filters running on the tank, which they are pumping that water around, so they're going to pick up any loose debris and things like that. We are ready to use our tap water safe and our filter starter. Now that's just going to make the water safe for all the fish and get rid of all the heavy metals and chlorines, and it's also going to get the bacteria started in here for when we start getting our fish in. Now I've got to remember 10 ml per 50 litres, so roughly around 5 ml in each tank. But we can get this done, and then I've just got to let these things mature, which is probably the hardest part of fish keeping, if we're all honest with each other. Looking at a tank with no fish swimming around, it is one of the hardest times because you're just itching to get those fish in. Right, 5 ml of this one as well. This is the filter starter. But yeah, it is always best not to rush this stage. We'll test it in about 7 to 10 days time. Make sure everything's doing everything that we need it to be doing. Well, I'll bring you guys and girls back in about 7 to 10 days time when we look at getting our first fish. And I am super excited. We have definitely made the right choice on the fish. But anyway, I could sit here and stare at these. There's nothing in them, but I'm just looking at all the plants and the rocks. And anyway, I'll see you in about 7 days time. We are back with the double scape, dual scape. I don't know what I was calling it, red and green scape. Anyway, whatever I've been calling it, we are back with it. And it has been doing so well. It's at just over a week old now. Well, no, a week since you last saw it in the video. It's probably a little bit longer because I had the wood in there and stuff. But anyway, tomorrow I am going to pick up the fish for this. And like I say, they're not mega rare, but I think they're going to set this tank off really well. The plan that I've got, I think it's going to work an absolute treat. When I say work plan I've got, Alex B helped me out with it. So, yeah. We have got a couple of finishing touches to do today. One being some botanicals, nothing major. A few little seed pod, older cones, maybe a couple of leaves. I just like it when it naturalises a tank. And I think, as good as these look, I think that botanical sort of thing will just finish it off. And what else have I got to do to it? well, test the water really. And that's about it. We are ready to rock and roll. So I've had a bit of a rummage through the botanicals box. I've got some lovely guava leaves. Now I've picked out some of the smaller ones, so they should be ideal. Probably, I don't know, two in every tank, 2 in each tank. I think that'll be fine. And then I've just got some standard alder cones. They're quite hard to see in the dark. But yeah, these are just standard alder cones. I'm going to boil a handful of these up. Just again, a little group of them in each tank scattered about in amongst the rocks and the wood. That'll be ideal. But we better get these boiled first to get a lot of those tannins out and make sure they can sink. So with the botanicals boiled and placed in the aquarium, the only thing left to do is to test the water, which hopefully my test kit is down here. Ta-da! So all I need to do is test the water, make sure everything's okay, and then tomorrow morning we can go out, we can grab the fish. I say tomorrow morning, probably tomorrow afternoon by the time I'm sorted and out of the house. But yeah, tomorrow afternoon we can go grab the fish and get them in here. But let's quickly test the water, check everything's okay, and then, yeah, go to bed. We are fully tested. I didn't bore you with the whole 15 minutes of testing on both tanks, but you get the idea. To be fair, if you want to watch a video on water testing and all the different parameters and what to do with them, you can go over to my channel and find the water testing video, which I'll link in the description as well. It's actually with this test kit, so it's with the NT Labs Aquarium Lab, so I go through all the different ones. But anyway, I have done that on these and everything is coming out spot on. So tomorrow, it is time to get the fish. Now we are going for shoaling fish first. I did want some cleanup crew, but no one's got the cleanup crew I want, so that'll be a future video, and we will discuss that tomorrow when I get the fish, because you'll see my plans and you'll see my thought process with the fish tomorrow. I will bring you back tomorrow morning, actually probably not tomorrow morning as I've said, I'll bring you back tomorrow afternoon when I'm on my way to the fish shop or even in the fish shop picking out what fish we're going to get. Super excited to see some life in here. We are back from the fish shop and I don't think you can see me because the lights aren't on. Hang on, let's sort this out. We are ready to get these fish acclimatized and they are going to look so good. Now actually I do want to dim down the lights for this because that light is quite bright and I don't think they'll appreciate going from a very dark bag to a very bright light. There we go. Can you still see me? Perfect. So we've got 2 different species, one for one side and one for the other. Now I want to make sure I get this right. You guys are in this one. I don't think that bag's going to fit. The guys at the shop bagged them in bigger bags so I had more space. And yeah, I don't think they're actually going to fit if I put them in like that. Let's try that. Attempt number 2. the water level's going very high. I think we're safe. Right. And species number 2. Oh, we've made such a good decision. We have made such a good decision. You going to fit in that one? We're going to give them a bit of time to temperature acclimate, then I will cut the tops. We will then start putting some of the water from the tanks in, and then we can get them released. And I can actually tell you what we've got in there. You might, to be fair, I might have already put it in the thumbnail or in the title or something, and you might already know, but I haven't made that decision yet. So it might be a mystery, it might not. Who knows? We've given these fish about 45 minutes, an hour now to acclimatise, and I'm going to get them out. Now I'm going to net them out. It's a tiny little net, look. I'm going to net them out because they have been in the bag for probably a couple of hours because, I couldn't get these fish from my local shop, so I did have to go further afield to get them. So yeah, we are going to just net them out. We're not going to put any of the water in. And then I'm going to let them settle. I'm not going to turn the lights on because, again, they've come from further afield. I'm going to give them a bit more time to sort of settle down and get used to the tank. But I will bring you guys and girls back once they are settled. These look like they don't care. They're swimming about. They don't care. These guys are a little bit more hunkered down in the bottom of the bag and a little bit more sort of freaked out. But I've tested the water between the bags and the tanks, and they are the same. So, well, here goes nothing. Let's try and net all these fish out. All I've got to do now is pop a little bit of water back in to top it up from where I just removed some water in the acclimatisation process. That's it. So yeah, and then we can leave these little fish overnight to settle down. As I said before, these little ones really don't seem to care. These little ones have all gone into hiding. Oh yeah, they're here. They're all along the front. So yeah, it's definitely going to be better to give them overnight to settle down, and I'll bring you all back tomorrow, and you can see them all in their glory, and hopefully they've all coloured up enough to see what I've done. We are back, it's the next day, and I am super happy with the choices that we've made. It's actually quite interesting watching the behaviours of both of them. Obviously the Cabotii, or the green Rasboras, were confident from, even in the bag. They were confident, they really didn't care. Whereas the Ember Tetras have been a lot more sort of reclusive and a lot more sort of, a little bit more of a gentler swim motion. These guys are arguing with each other, and the Ember Tetras are just sort of busying about with each other. So it's quite interesting, even though they're the same sort of size and the same, in theory, shoaling fish, the temperament and the way that they sort of swim with each other is completely different, which is really cool to see. And it does keep the tanks separate in another way. Actually, that's another interesting thing about the fish. I have kept the filter on the Rasbora tank full blast pretty much, and they've been absolutely fine swimming in the current. With the Ember Tetras, I've actually turned it down to nearly half flow, and that gentler flow actually brought them out of the plants. When it was on full, they were hiding away in the plants, hiding behind the wood, trying to get away from that water movement. As soon as I turned it down, they all came back out and they were all swimming around. So again, it's an interesting thing when we try and keep all these fish together. Certain things make fish act in different ways, and it's well worth remembering that when trying to set up a tank. Tanks like these are only going to get better with time, to be honest. Obviously the leaves are going to settle into their underwater growth rather than their terrestrial growth, so they're going to look even better in weeks and weeks to come. So I will bring you back to show you how they're doing. I want to get green Hulk shrimp for this tank, and I want to get, I don't know, maybe orange shrimp or cherry shrimp or something like that for this tank. So again, I've got the two separate colours. I think that'll work really well. I've definitely enjoyed building this one, a little bit different with the colour matching and the colour sort of separation between the two tanks, and I think it's something that can be expanded on. You know, how cool would it be to have 4 tanks going through and having like a, I don't know, maybe like a summer, autumn, winter, spring. That was the one I was missing, where you have bright green plants, darker green plants, reddy plants, and then maybe nothing at all and just hardscape. I don't know, there's loads of different ideas that come up now that I've sort of done this tank with the 2 tanks sort of working together. Yeah, I think there's loads of different options you could do and have fun with, and again, it's all about that, isn't it? It's all about enjoying fish keeping, doing something different. Sorry, I just spotted a spider. Not that I'm scared of spiders, but he was wandering across next to my tweezers. Yeah, anyway, it's something that I can expand on, something that's interesting. Let me know in the comments what you would do, you know, different ideas and things, or maybe what you're going to try. Anyway, I will see you in the next one. I'm going to sit here for probably the next couple of hours and just watch these guys swim around.